could you briefly describe your current role and how you are involved with clinical trials?
Of course, yes. So I'm the head of translational medicine at Ulysses Neuroscience. We're a small contract research organisation based in Dublin, Ireland. And our involvement very much centres on the kind of preclinical trial stage. And we work with patient foundations, patient advocacy groups, and also small pharmaceutical companies in the biomarker discovery and validation stage preclinical trials. So we deal with, site selection, clinician selection, patient recruitment and sampling. And then we do a host of biomarker analysis in the lab, really to get to that early stage before the first stages of the clinical trials.
Okay, very nice. Next question. What does patient readiness mean for you?
So I think for me, patient readiness forms just kind of one of the core parts of the overall, clinical trial readiness. And I think really having patients who are engaged and ready and emotionally ready for clinical trials is really important. And I think one of the key things is once you have the patients who are engaged and they want to be part of it, is ensuring they have the understanding of what is going on. So the process and the endpoints that are measured, and also the expectation limitation. Clinical trials are, and preclinical trials are inherently exciting. Patients want to be involved. They want to get to that next stage. But ensuring that they understand that at the early phases, there's probably not going to be a, therapeutic benefit, but the work they're doing is so valuable in getting to that next stage.
Okay, very well. How do you think can researchers and clinicals better prepare patients for that clinical trial?
Yeah, I think, leading on from my last answer, I think communication is key.
Yes.
And I think ensuring that information is presented in a coherent way that is understandable to the non-scientists, and patient advocacy groups, can play a really good role in this, and they bridge kind of the gap between the scientists and the patients. But I think also logistically, there are things we can do that make life easier, reducing the burden of travel where possible, where we can use, telemedicine for pre-screening, reducing the invasiveness and the frequency of sampling where possible for those early phases, weighing up the cost benefit of, do we really need to take lumbar punctures? Can we deal with CSF for this phase?
That kind of things.
And I think, other things like reimbursing for travel, making the process as easy and seamless and smooth for the patients.
Okay, nice. What patient recruitment strategies have you seen that work well?
So when we work with patients and recruiting them into our preclinical trials and our clinical studies, what we found is the best way is really starting with the community. So, a lot of these rare diseases have maybe Facebook groups or their local communities, and they know each other best. They usually have a leader and they know the patients. They know what the patients and the families need in terms of travel arrangements or, accommodations that they might need. So how we tend to find it works best is if we approach, say, the leader of a patient community. They can advise us on the best clinicians, the best hospitals to use, and anything that we need to put in place. So I think really starting and letting them lead us, telling us how it is going to work best for them is our ultimate strategy.
Okay, very well. How important do you think, you've answered a little bit, but how important you think is the role of patients advocacy groups in all this?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely fundamental. They're really kind of the beating heart of rare disease research. They are so key in, like I said, bridging that gap between the patients, their families, and the clinicians, scientists, companies. And it really helps us because they are the ones setting like research priorities, priorities for engagement. They're the ones, facilitating and allowing us to set up family awareness days where we can disseminate our research to them, we can, tell them about upcoming studies we may want to do. We have very busy jobs as well. So they take a lot of the burden off us of, using their free time that they have to assemble and bring patients together to allow us to communicate with them. So we wouldn't be able to do what we do without those groups.
Okay. For closing question, is there a message you like to share with patients and their families, of course, when they are considering to participate in a clinical trial?
Yeah, so I think, the ultimate message is thank you. And we want to, reinforce that any engagement you have with us as researchers and scientists is so meaningful, and it helps from both a scientific perspective, but it helps us from a motivational perspective as well. Of
course,
it puts, sometimes we get stuck in the lab, at the bench for hours on end, and it really puts the human aspect into it. So we really, really appreciate all the background work, the fundraising, the advocacy, and the engagement in every way.
Okay, thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you.